Alex Newman, he's a world/international journalist. He's with me here today. Hi, Alex. How you doing?
Doing great, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Hey, you're very welcome. It's nice to see you again. You and I spoke, I don't know, at least a year ago, might have been 2 years ago, and that at that time you had just authored a book. And tell me about that book quickly. Refresh my memory. How's it doing? And what's your thoughts on it? And are you doing another one?
Well, thank you very much, Brian, for the opportunity. Yeah, the book was Crimes of the Educators, How Utopians Are Using Government Schools to Destroy America's Children. It's done fantastic. We're just about out of books from the second print run, so hopefully we'll be going to the third here very soon. Sold lots of copies, made a tremendous impact, educated millions of people on radio, TV programs talking about this. And the basic idea is that the absolute total failure of our education systems is not an accident. In fact, this was by design. A group of individuals with names and agendas hijacked control of our government education system and have been using it to dumb down the population of the United States and certainly Canada for generations now. And we're getting closer than ever to the ultimate objective, which is the elimination of individual liberty and national sovereignty and self-government and all the rest of our freedoms. And so if we want to fight back, and I tell this to everybody, it doesn't matter what your issue is, if you don't deal with the education problem, all the rest of it's a moot point, right? You want to defend gun rights, free markets, pro-life, whatever your issue is. If the government schools continue to indoctrinate 80 to 90% of our kids successfully, over a long enough time span, we're going to lose on all these issues. So we all need to hitch at least one of our wagons to the education bandwagon.
And this isn't a new concept. Hitler had this down, and lots of other dictators before he, did the same thing. And so I certainly get it. In Canada right now, some still call him the Prime Minister. Of course, I refer to him as a prime mistake. And recently in the budget, the prime mistake was supposed to be talking about the economy in Canada, and it's not a great economy. And instead, he chose to talk about transgenders and genders and so on. And he used the word gender 400 times in a budget that has to save the nation. Okay, it's supposed to be about arithmetic and jobs and all, job creation, and instead close to 400 times he spoke about gender and tried to tell us what bathroom we need to go to. So the whole world is screwed up. There's no question. These liberals, they're totally amok. I used to think that they could be saved. They can't. We need to kind of drive over top of them. And down in the States, of course, you're getting the same thing. But also Europe, is that happening in Europe as well, or is it just North America?
In fact, in Northern Europe, where I spent a lot of time, it began there. They kind of use some of these Northern European countries as petri dishes, and they try out their kooky agendas. They figure out, what type of resistance there's going to be, what the best way to overcome it is, and they roll it out in California and Canada, and then it comes to, the rest of the United States. And the gender stuff out of control, and this is just the tip of the spear. I mean, these people are waging war on truth, on reality, on freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and if we don't put a stop to it, it's going to be a nightmare.
How do we do that, Alex? How are we going to put a stop to it?
Well, as I mentioned, I think education is one of the key issues here. We need to protect our own children from being brainwashed, first of all, and then we need to prevent the corruption of all the rest of the children by, getting back involved, by taking back the education system and not letting them indoctrinate the kids. So that's the first and most important issue. Secondly, we need to educate ourselves, right? So I tell people, subscribe to the New American Magazine. If you're not subscribed yet, you're not getting the real news, you're not getting what matters, so get a copy of the New American Magazine. Educate yourself, get active, get organized, put money, if you don't have time to volunteer, put money into organizations that are doing the right thing, and fight like your life and your freedom depends on it, because they really do.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to share with all of the people that are watching us, and by the way, Alex, we have over 1 million people a week do tune into our show, so hopefully a lot of people will be paying attention to what you're saying. But you know what, it's important, I think, to kind of listen to an old tale that I was told many, many years ago by my dad. He said, if you're ever going to sell Coca-Cola, boy, go tell them how great it is. Don't tell everybody how rotten Pepsi is. And I think a lot of us are caught up into this, he's bad, she's worse, and so on. I think we need to start talking and over-talk them, because you can't win. I mean, you fight with a pig, you get muddy, right? And the Democrats, the liberals, pigs. I mean, wow, I got better words than that. But we need to go out and tell the world what we can do. This constant going back and forth, I like your view on this, but this constant stuff about talking about how bad they are, I get it. You've got to identify the problem before you have a solution, but we need to act more. And you've already said that. I'm just kind of saying it again in my hillbilly way, but we need to act more. Instead of giving our opinions all day long, let's do something. There's not a lot of execution on our side, and the left is strong, they're organized, and they've had many, many years to get that way. And I actually think they're winning, and we can't let them win. And I like what you're saying, but we need now for people, it's kind of like being on a diet. I'm fat, I want to get unfat, but you know what? Most people never get unfat. And you got to kind of execute it. You got to do it. And again, with the stuff you're doing, all the speeches that you do, all the talks, all the writings, people need to start to execute. What are your findings with that? Are people starting to do stuff, or are they still just listening to you?
Well, I think you hit on some real important points there, Brian, that I want to touch on. And you're right. We need to present an alternative vision, and we need to promote the benefits of freedom. I mean, a free society is an amazingly wonderful society. Everything's not going to be perfect, but we have freedom, and that is crucial. That life in freedom is far better than life under tyranny. And take homeschooling, for example. Yeah, we can talk about the evils of the government education system all day long, and it's out of control. But we also need to point out the positives, right? Go look at the homeschooling community. I mean, homeschooling and some of these alternative schools, Christian schools, private independent schools. I mean, another world is possible, and it's amazing. And we have the opportunity now. We still have the freedom, most of us, to withdraw from the corrupt, rotten system and participate and build a new and better system. So, I couldn't agree more with you there, Brian. You're absolutely right. And I do think, to go back to your question here, I think you're right. I think people are doing more. And I think the 2016 election was really a turning point, because for a long time, there was this kind of myth that people believe the media. And the entire media establishment was against Donald Trump. Every fake news network, every fake newspaper, and the American people went out and said, you know what, we reject you guys, we reject your lies, we reject your agenda. Trump may not be perfect, but he's not you, and so we'll take him.
Oh, hey, he doesn't have the best, he's not the best messenger, but he has the best message. And he could invent a cure for cancer, and people would still call him names on the left. So, so that's just the way it is. So it's up to us, as we've already said, to kind of keep steamrolling ahead. And I recently read about a mother who had a 10-year-old daughter who was bisexual, I guess, or something. She wanted to change to be a he, and on and on. And she was successful with the school organization to get bathrooms made, blah, 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 whatever it was. It made me think that if you're a child and you start barking like a dog in play, and you say, I'm a dog now, do you buy him dog food, or do you give him counseling? Clearly, you give them counseling, and today you're not even allowed to do that. So more pushback that we have to give. Here's what I have found in the United States of America that troubles me. I get it, but it troubles me. People whisper, and any Trump supporter, they whisper, they look around, they're frightened to say, we have become frightened. Are you a Christian? They look around and whisper, are you? You know what? It shouldn't be like that. I yell it. I'm a Christian. I voted for Trump. Wow. I mean, when I go on an airplane for ID, I show my gun card. I have a concealed carry permit, and I show that. I need to talk like that. How do we get everybody doing that? I know you do. Hey, who'd you vote for, Alex?
Hillary Clinton.
That'd make me bark like a fox.
Absolutely right. And I think there is still this hesitation among people, because some people still watch the idiot box, or aka the television, and they have this naive belief that this somehow, at least a little bit, represents reality. And what I encourage people to do, and I say this all the time on radio, TV, whatever, go out and talk to your neighbors, go out and talk to the people in your community, and what you'll find is that almost everybody knows this stuff. Almost everybody recognizes that the media is nothing but lies, but everybody's too scared to talk about it, lest anybody think, oh, you're bad because the media says you're bad. Once we get out and start talking about it, the power of the fake media disappears, and I think there's really a lot of encouraging stuff going on. There is clouds on the horizon, no doubt about it, but so many good things are happening right now, and there are reasons to be optimistic too.
Another issue that I see all the time is conservatives / capitalists / right-wing people are good people, they're honest people, they have a pulse, of course, but they also have feelings, and they're easy to hurt, right? And we need to get over that. We need to kind of stand up a little bit, but because the left doesn't have any of those you know, things, and they call people names. Just the other day, I was in a restaurant in Southern California, and a bunch of white girls that were probably early 20s, they were in a bar, in a nice bar, and the owner of the bar had 2 pictures of people up on the wall, and they were white people, big deal, and these girls all got together, and they caused a big scene saying, those are white people. And I was there, and I looked at them and said, that's right, good for you. You know, those are white people. I didn't know you're that smart. And they really had a problem with that. And I said, and your problem is what? I stood up to them. You know what the owner did? He took the pictures down. And I spoke to her later. I said, who do you vote for? And she said, I'm a Trump supporter. And that is so sad. Everything we're saying kind of rolls with that. It's going to get better. We can't let them win because they're dumb and we're not. Hey.
You're absolutely right. We can't let them win because civilization depends on it. The future of our children, the right for them to live in liberty and freedom and to do what they want and to make their own decisions and to lead fruitful, productive, happy lives. It all is riding on what we do.
It's up to us.
I personally am so disappointed with the people who cower before the radical left and the establishment. You know, they start throwing out names like they did to Trump. They say, oh, you're racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic. You know, pick your nasty terms. And some people still cower about that.
I got to tell you.
Recognize that these people are just liars.
Oh, for sure. Alex, Trump is one of the strongest individuals ever. Look what that man has put up with. I mean, I got to tell you, it's really unbelievable. He's 71 years old. He has meetings at midnight. And with all of these people who are a bunch of commies sitting in a room with him, and he's trying to fix America. He actually is a patriot. He's a real American. And wow, it's a struggle. And every day, if you ever did pick up a paper, you'd probably, you know, want to hide with a blanket over your head because it says you're a bad person. So we're on the same page. Hey, I'd like to talk more with you, particularly about the UN. We're going to do that in another show because the UN is a whole topic. We could go on and on about that, of course, because in my view, let's have a fast view on the UN. In my view, they might have had a purpose way back when the war was over, but they don't anymore, and they're trying to take over the world because they're a bunch of commies wearing blue hats, and they're saying everybody come around and we'll give the orders. What do you think? And again, this is an elevator pitch. Give us your elevator pitch in the UN, and then we're going to leave that for another day.
Yeah, well, I agree with every word you said, except the idea that it might have served a purpose at the beginning. The UN has done a masterful job of concealing its true history. But what people need to realize is the United Nations was founded by communist mass murderers, for communist mass murderers, to accomplish communist mass murder. Even our representative, you know, in the United States, if you read a history book today, they rarely tell you about one of our lead representatives to the founding conference of the UN. His name was Albert Hicks. He was so important in all this that they made him the first Secretary General of the United Nations. And he ostensibly represented we, the American people. On the other side, of course, you had Stalin, the mass-murdering butcher, one of the most brutal dictators in all human history. Well, come to find out, Albert Hicks was actually working for Stalin all along. He was convicted in federal court for being a spy for Stalin. And so you had communist mass murderers on one and then you had their agents. So the UN is a dangerous institution. It has become the vehicle for the freedom haters, the globalists, the communists, the Islamists, and all the rest.
They're bad.
To take over the world, flood our countries with unlimited immigration, and take down freedom. We need to get out of the UN. We need to dismantle it. It has become a haven for pedophiles. You know, the latest estimate I saw, 60,000 women and children raped by UN officials in the last 10 years. I mean, the numbers just boggle the mind.
Alex, we got to do this in another show because right now you've made me so upset. I got to go home and swear at my wife and kick my dog. You know, so that's important now because I kind of feel the rage. But you know what? It's up to us. It ain't up to the politicians. They're supposed to represent us. They govern us. It's up to us. Everybody needs to have that as a takeaway. Alex, really nice to see you again. Look forward to seeing you again sooner than later, and we'll get on to the UN. You and I could do a show a day and about the various topics out there. And again, the takeaway has to be it's up to us. That'll be you, and that'll be us. See ya. See ya, Alex.
Thanks, man.